we're going around looking at different kinds of props. We've seen a number of them that are ground adjustable props. That's common in this space, but we wanted to look at an electric adjustable prop. The reason why fixed pitch props or ground adjustable props are popular is because on many aircraft they're not allowed to have an in-flight adjustable option to them. But in the experimental aircraft space, you can certainly do that. So I'm Dan Johnson, and I'm talking with Jimmy Miller, who's an expert about this particular one we're looking at here. What are we looking at?
Well, this is an electric constant speed or in-flight adjustable prop by S-Prop, marketed by Full Torque Propulsion, excuse me. And I've got one on my kit, Fox, and very happy with it. I'm seeing a 10 knot increase in cruise speed with the prop. Very great climb gradient. My climb gradient has really changed. It holds the same airspeed, but I get much better climb gradient with it. And at altitude is where it really shines.
Now, when you say that, you're comparing that to a ground adjustable prop?
A ground adjustable fixed pitch prop. But with any constant speed prop, you can take full advantage of your horsepower, your power band, and full advantage of the prop at altitude and full efficiency. Very easy to install, simple, straightforward install.
This is part of the prop controller unit, and you're saying that goes through the drive shaft of the engine.
It's the hollow center shaft, propeller shaft on the 912. It goes
all right.
Shaft, goes into this bronze bearing, which is on its own bearing system.
For the camera so they can see where you're talking about there.
It's on its own bearing system, and that goes there, and that's what actually actuates the props as it pushes and pulls. And this rod goes into this controller.
Now that's the controller unit you got in your hand there, right?
Right. And the rod goes in through here. This bolts to the
down here. Okay,
right.
I got it.
This bolts to the bosses that are on all 912 Rotax engines for their hydraulic controller. So this is just 4 bolts. Bolts on. This goes in. You bolt the hub on.
So it's an electrically adjusted.
It's totally electric, and it's a constant speed, or in-flight adjustable, manual adjustable if you want to change it. The best operation of this is to leave it in. This is a controller. I don't know if you can get a good shot of this, but this is constant speed. Then you pull the lever up and you can put it in manual. And by putting it in manual, you can see the blades operate. I'm increasing the pitch, and that's manual. Now, when I put it back in constant speed, which is where I fly it, pull it back up and put it in constant speed, it's going to go back to the RPM that it was set for. So the blade pitch is changing for 5,500, which it's set for maximum RPM, and that's initial takeoff. You would take off at 5,500, and just like any constant speed with a Continental Lycoming, as you were climbing out, you dial up, take the knob and dial up, take a few hundred RPM off. You get to cruise, set it at cruise RPM.
A whole lot easier than what I'm used to on a conventional GA airplane with a prop controller and watching gauges and getting manifold pressure and RPM to be in the right sync and everything. Here it's pretty dumb and simple, even for somebody like me. Just twiddle the knob till you get the RPM you want and go.
Yeah, and when you set it to there, I flew it 5.5 hours down here from North Carolina, and it worked flawlessly. In all kinds of turbulence. I ran into some 30-knot headwinds on the way down Tuesday, but it doesn't hunt. You can pitch and climb, and it'll stay right there. It'll bring the RPM with it, stay right where you set it. The nice thing about it, when you're sitting up there at 6,000 and you want to climb, I spent about 2 hours at 6,000 right after I put it on, doing some tests, runs back and forth. You reach up there and turn her up to 5,500. If you need to climb at 6,000 feet, you get a very good climb rate. You get full use of the power that's available out of the engine, and you get it by being able to adjust this prop.
Tell me how you operate the prop in those basically 3 phases of flight: takeoff, cruise, landing.
Well, when I start up, just start up, I leave it in constant speed, and every time it's turned off, no matter what RPM it was set at, it's going to go back to its maximum RPM the next time it powers up.
Okay, so the default position is maximum RPM.
And do your normal run up and cycle it, but you cycle it with put it in manual for pre-flight check and cycle it.
And how far do you go with that on a
Like you would normal constant speed.
until you hear the blades change, right?
100 RPM, and take it back and then put it back in constant speed. Everything's there. Push it full forward, take off. You're getting full rated horsepower for takeoff. As you're climbing out, you might want to Rotax. You can run it 5 minutes above 55 to 5800. You got a 5-minute window there. You can run it up to 5800 for 5 minutes. You climb out, pull a little RPM on, maybe a cruise climb, back to 55 if you were turning 50.
Yeah, the 58 would be maximum climb out.
And then when you get to your cruise altitude, push over, trim to it, turn the RPM that you want, and being a altitude compensating carburetors, you don't have to worry about the mixture. So now all you got to worry about is the trim and the prop. Leave it there till you get where you're going, and just like you got a pre-landing checklist. One of the things, prop full forward. I turned the prop to 5500. I don't take it to 57, but I've got my maximum set at 5700 on my prop. And
Okay.
And we were just showing people it just happens to be at 55 at this point in time. We can make it all the way up to 57. I turn it to 55 in case I do need to go around.
All right, let's talk for a couple of minutes about what the effort of installing this is. And this is we talked about this earlier, that it's for experimental aircraft, home-built aircraft, if you will.
It's real straightforward, and the controller's a standard 2 1/4-inch instrument hole. You use that. Cut a hole in if you have to. I took the vertical card compass out and put mine in. This is 4 bolts. The controller's 4 bolts. The rod screws in, and you do have an initial adjustment to adjust to, once you get everything set. There is an initial adjustment, and once you get that done, the hub bolts, of course, right to the end of the prop flange. That's very straightforward. 8 Newton meters. There's a torque value on it, which is 18 to 20 foot-pounds. You got the hub on, and then you want to put the blade on. The blade's on. These are very straightforward. You can't miss the index on it. At the end of this, there's a hole at the end. See that hole?
Uh-huh.
Inside the hub, there's a pin that hole fits on.
I see. That's how you get that initial alignment.
Initial alignment. You turn the blade 90 degrees from direction, and there's a ramp that you'll feel. You turn it in till you can feel it hit that pin.
The pin that's going into the hole.
Right. Now I've hit the pin, but I want to back it off. I don't want to drag it around, so I want to back it off a little bit, just enough, and then turn. As you can see, I'm turning the blade.
Uh-huh.
It stopped. Now tighten it up.
And that's because it's going to a default position at first?
It's indexing this blade with every other blade. That indexes the blade, so you don't have a gauge to check to adjust the pitch.
Right. Unlike a ground adjustable where you might be trying to think about how to do that. In this case, you're putting them all in the same, letting the machinery do the work of adjusting once you get to that point.
And you get a tool this tool tightens it tightens up the Allen wrench screw is in there, which you would screw this in, snug this up. You don't wrench down on it, you snug it up, a good snug fit. But once you set that, the Allen set screws, you put medium Loctite on, lock them down like you normally would. No need to wrench down on it or anything like that. Put spinner on and go flying. Well, I'm sorry. There is one check.
One more thing.
Yeah. Initial setup, you do have to set the maximum RPM, and that's done with adjustment on this rod.
Oh, okay. That's
So-
through the actuation rod.
So when you start up, and like you would do on a ground adjustable, you want to set your static RPM. You want to do the same with this. You want to set it about 5,500 RPM, within 50 RPM.
Okay.
I like mine high. I like to get all I can get. I'm at 5,600.
The way I'm envisioning it here is in a tractor configuration. Do you offer it in a pusher configuration as well?
Yes, we do. offered in pusher, and it's been used for the past 4 years on UAVs in the pusher configuration.
Okay, so you got a lot of experience with that as well. And what sizes are available, Jimmy?
At this time, there's 5 sizes available. We go from 60, 61, 64, 72, and 74.
Okay. You got a lot of range there for people. You can go either direction on tractor versus pusher. And the last question I got then is delivery times on these. If somebody said, I'm sold, they said that today, how fast could you get them a prop?
Well, if we sell out here at the show, which we plan to do, it's still only 4 weeks out.
4 weeks.
Here at the show that we don't have them, we're out of them, you're 4 weeks.
Okay, 4 weeks. That's pretty quick time for somebody that's building an airplane. They've already invested a lot of time anyway. Great. I've tried to ask you as many questions as I could about it, but people out there know a lot more than I perhaps and may want to ask you some more questions. Where can we send them on the web, Jimmy, to direct them to your company?
It's full-torque.com.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Jimmy, for talking to us. More information about the kind of aircraft that these props go on and all kinds of affordable aviation available on buydanjohnson.com.